Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rogério Vicente. I'm a software engineer at YLD.io, and I'm here to talk about HTTP.Cat. First of all, a disclaimer. This is a talk not so much about the technology, but more of a... I hope you guys take it as an inspirational talk for you to build your own projects. And even if the idea seems stupid at first, you never know what happens, and this is just a case of a stupid idea that suddenly got famous. So I'm going to talk about it. So yeah, HTTP.Cat. This is the domain name, by the way. I don't know how many of you have heard about HTTP.Cat. Okay, not many. Okay. So what is HTTP.Cat? I tried to find the perfect sentence to describe it. And I think this is the best I came up with. It's an API that returns images of cats performing some action related with the description of an HTTP status code. So I hope that you guys are familiar with HTTP and HTTP status codes. Everyone already had a 404 not found error, for instance, or a 500 error, or something like that. So yeah, this basically just returns images of cats. It's an API. And this is how it looks like. You have the usage instructions on top where you can append the status code on the URL and you get the according images below. You can see more images if you visit the website. So some examples. These are some of my favorite. As you can see, the famous 100 continue. This cat is adorable. What is he flying, or I don't know? Yeah. Then we have the lint required, also cute. And more examples. Accepted. No content and not found. The most famous one. And internal error and blocked by Windows parental controls. And the Easter egg that most people don't know, this is actually in the RFC. It's a standard code. I'm a teapot. I would love to explain this, but I just can't explain. But it has something to do with coffee machines on the network that can emit such errors or message. I don't know. So yeah, the short story. Around 2011, I just got, I started working like probably 2 years before, and I got an idea. I read Hacker News every day, and I decided for myself to have an objective that I would wish to be on the first page of Hacker News, preferably in first place. So I started exploring ideas and trying to see what I could come up with to manage to get that objective. And I tried a couple of times, and this one was the hit. But first, the images are not mine. The idea is not mine. HTTP status cats were a Flickr set that were published on Flickr on, I believe, December 14 of 2011 by Tomomi Mura. I'll explain who she is a bit later. And basically, she created this Flickr set. She did she used the motivational poster template, and she used cat pictures. She compiled everything and put on Flickr. And suddenly it was all over the internet, like Boing Boing, Laughing Squid, Hacker News, Reddit. And I was on the subway, and I scrolling through the tweets and checking Hacker News, and I saw this thing, and I said, well, this is actually a pretty cool idea to teach anyone HTTP codes. But there's something missing here. This is just a Flickr set. You have a lot of work to show this to some programmer if you want to use it or use it. So I came up with the idea of doing an API. I was on the subway to work doing my commute, and first of all, let me just show who she is. Tomomi Mura. She now works on Slack. She's a dev relations, and she was a creator of HTTP.Cat. So yeah, I was on the subway, and when I got to the office, the first thing I did was sit down at my computer and started working on this. And after 20 minutes, I got the first version working. And you'll see how simple this is. So yeah, I just placed it on. Yeah, you can see the code here. I used Node back then, and I think it was version 0.4. And you can see how simple the code is. Basically, I downloaded all the image folder, all the images to a folder, and then I served them on a Node server. This is pretty suboptimal, by the way. Don't do this. So yeah, first version working. Deploy it on Heroku, free tire, no big deal. And it was up around 10 a.m. in the morning on HTTP.Cat herokuapp.com, running on a free plan with Node.JS 0.4. So I started thinking, okay, so I need to submit this to Hacker News and Reddit. But right now, on the US, which is mainly the target of your audience, everyone's sleeping. So maybe I should wait for a better time, because if I submit it now, the new item will basically drop down on the list and be forgotten when people wake up. So that's what I did. I waited, and around 5 p.m. I posted the link on Hacker News and Reddit programming. Sorry, this is not yet. And nothing happened. So basically my submission was there, 1 point of upvote, no big deal. I waited like 1 hour and nothing happened. On Reddit, on the other hand, there were a couple of votes, like 10 votes. It was on the front page, but Reddit is not so famous as Hacker News, so I wasn't amazed with it. So I just went for drinks with my coworkers, and as I was in a bar, I started getting alarms from Heroku that the application was down. And I thought, well, I fucked up somewhere. I have to check the code. But I had my computer next to me, so I opened it up, and I saw there was like 5,000 people simultaneously on the web page. So I thought, whoa, something's happening, and I don't know if it's from Reddit or Hacker News, so maybe I'm gonna check Hacker News. I checked Hacker News, and my submission was still in the same position as it was before. I actually forgotten, it wasn't even on the front page, but someone else with more karma on Hacker News picked it up and reposted again, and it was on the front page, the link. So I was pretty amazed. It was like 3rd place first, and after a couple of hours, it was on the 1st place, and it got there for about 6 to 7 hours. And I was pretty amazed. So I said, well, finally, I'm on the first place in Hacker News, and it's because of cats. So that was it. It kept on. This was December. It kept on during Christmas, big spike, lots of access, and people talking about it on Facebook, everywhere, Twitter. But I just left it there. But most of the times I was constantly rebooting the web dyno from Heroku, always having problems. So around probably 2 years after, I decided to change the code base to make it more performant and avoid me having to constantly be rebooting the server or checking if everything's all right on the logs, and etc. So that change, it was around 2015, made me made me think that probably using a herokuapp.com domain is not that it's not sexy. So I started looking for domains, and I saw this Chrome extension called CryptoCat, and it had a .cat domain. So the domain was crypto.cat, and I thought, whoa, there's a cat domain, cool. I want to do this for HTTP.Cat, but probably I won't be lucky because HTTP is a reserved word most of the times, and most domains don't allow it. Turns out that the cat domain allowed it, and it was free, available, so I bought it. And I added HTTPS, as you can see, so you can browse your webcat securely. and yeah, that's it. After about 2 hours of setting up everything, I also decided to rewrite the code and remove completely the server logic, because come on, this is just serving static assets basically. So so this is basically just serving static assets and rewriting the URL. So there's no need to have code there. And this is basically this is a Nginx config, by the way. And that line over there, it's basically the whole HTTP.Cat right now, besides the CSS and markup. So basically what it does is tries to, if you for instance, place on your browser HTTP.Cat /200, it will try to map that to a file. If it fails, we'll try to map that to a folder. If it fails, it will try to pick up the 200 part and append the .jpeg extension and use the image folder where the images are stored. If it still doesn't work, it's going to try to ignore just use it. For instance, you can use the API with 200.jpg if you for some reason need to have an extension for your use case. So it tries to use that also, and if it doesn't, then shows a not found image, 404, with the 404 cat. So yeah, this ended up being the most simplest way to approach the API, and it's still running today. Sorry, it's still running today. Basically, after 1 week, I submitted the new URL on Hacker News, so people would, hey, let's check it out. The HTTP.Cat has a new domain, and suddenly everything exploded. I even got more traffic than the first time because people found the fact that the domain name was HTTP.Cat more interesting than the API itself. So I had like probably double or triple the views, the page views, and server. Even today, if you tail a log, an Nginx log, an access log, you can see nothing. It's constantly running lines of access. People access images directly. Other people seeing the index HTML page, etc. So yeah, this is my talk. I hope I inspired you somehow to try your silly ideas, and sometimes it works. If it doesn't, you'll still learn in the process. So I think we all should try, and if you have the time, go for it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.